All right, let's step into the shadows. If you're looking to get into the cynical, stylish, and just plain fatalistic world of classic film noir, this is the explainer for you. We're going to create a clear guide, a roadmap if you will.
So, let's say you just watched a masterpiece, something like Out of the Past. You saw the sharp dialogue, the doomed hero, that unforgettable femme fatale, and now you're hooked. You get it. The big question is, what do you watch next?
Well, you've come to the right place. Think of this as your personal roadmap. We're going to make sense of all these classics so you know exactly where to turn next in your journey through the darkness.
Okay, so to really understand film noir, you only need to know one thing. The entire genre, all of it, was basically built on two core templates, two foundational blueprints, and they both showed up in the exact same year, 1944. Once you see these two patterns, everything else just clicks into place.
So your first choice is between two main paths. You've got the murder plot or you've got the detective story. On one side, there's Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity. This is the gold standard, folks. It's about an ordinary guy who gets lured into a devious murder plot by a dangerously smart woman. Then, on the other side, you have Murder My Sweet. This film gives us the classic cynical private eye, Philip Marlowe, pulled straight from the pages of a Raymond Chandler novel.
And, at the heart of so many of these stories is noir's most iconic figure, the femme fatale. She is the absolute magnetic center of the story. She's the woman whose charm and cunning leads our hero directly, and I mean directly, to his doom.
The real power of the femme fatale comes from these absolutely unforgettable performances. You've got Barbara Stanwyck in Double Indemnity. She pretty much wrote the book on being cunning. Ava Gardner in The Killers becomes the living embodiment of inescapable fate. And oh man, the chemistry between Gene Simmons and Robert Mitchum in Angel Face practically flies off the screen. But for pure, hard-boiled intensity, you have to talk about Gloria Graham and The Big Heat.
And speaking of The Big Heat, it has this moment of just shocking violence that has become legendary. People just call it the coffee scene. It is so sudden and so brutal, it perfectly captures the incredibly high stakes of this world. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but trust me, it's a perfect example of just how far this genre was willing to go.
That kind of violence, it points to the other major theme you see everywhere in film noir, fatalism. It's that overwhelming feeling that you're trapped, Like you're a fly in a spider's web and your past, or sometimes just plain bad luck, has already sealed your fate. There's just no escape. And there is no better example of this than the film The Killers. Get this, the movie starts at the end. A man, played by Burt Lancaster, gets a warning that hitmen are on their way to kill him. And what does he do? He just lies in bed and waits for them. The whole rest of the movie is an investigation, told in a series of flashbacks, trying to piece together the answer to one question: why? It's just a masterful story of how the past always catches up with you.
But if you want the purest, most concentrated dose of noir fatalism, a story that isn't just about a bad decision, but about cosmic, universe-hates-you bad luck, well, there's one film that stands above all the rest.
It runs for just 68 minutes.
And those 68 minutes, they are an absolute masterclass in dread. The film is called Detour. It's a super low-budget movie about a guy hitchhiking to California, and his life just spirals into an absolute nightmare of accidental death and blackmail, all from one single solitary stroke of bad luck. It really proves you don't need a big budget to create a powerful, suffocating sense of doom.
Okay, so we've looked at the blueprints, we've met the femme fatales, and we've talked about inescapable fate. Let's put it all together into a final, actionable roadmap so you can choose your next film with total confidence.
So let's make this super simple. If you want that quintessential noir blueprint, the original murder plot, go watch Double Indemnity. If you're here for the deadly, iconic women, your go-tos are The Killers or Angel Face. For a mainline hit of pure, inescapable doom, the answer is Detour. And if you're looking for hard-boiled cops and some truly shocking violence, The Big Heat is definitely your film.
So there you have it, your guide to the classics. But here's the thing, the journey doesn't just end in the black and white era. That cynical worldview, those dark alleys, they just learned to live in color.
In fact, some of the genre's most powerful movies came decades later, and what we now call neo-noir. So the question isn't just about which classic to watch next. The real question is, are you ready to see what happens when those shadows are filled with color?